sometimes if you have too much money when you're starting out, you could make, you give yourself an allowance of making too many mistakes, thinking that you're, invincible. And there's something to be said about having to make it work, not having a plan B, no turning back.
Exactly.
The founders I've talked to on the show again and again, the ones that have really made it work and the ones that are able to deal with the biggest challenges, the ones that that bootstrapped it, that basically had no alternative, that they had to make this business work. And you sound like you're one of them.
That's exactly right. There is no other option. And if you don't think about, I never thought about failure as an option. There was not a what if.
Right.
So I think me being kind of naive has been my superpower as well. Like I haven't thought about what if this doesn't work out. It's like we just make it happen.
That's it. Yeah. I just talked to a guest on the show that talked about the secret to his success was about being curious. And not when you think you know it all. That's when you run into trouble. But being very, very curious allows us to keep our mind open to other things, and allows us to weigh options we didn't even think were maybe possible, and to always remain that way.
Always. And I say all the time, what I tell to other entrepreneurs, or I love to mentor other people. I have mentors. I love to mentor other people, is be a sponge and find people that are smarter than you, and just be a sponge to their knowledge. Any convention or conference that I go to, it's not to sitting at the round tables and stuff is great, but it's networking. I source out people that I know that are going to be helpful and smarter than me, and I make them be my friend. Do that.
Sure.
Find people and get their cell phone number and get their knowledge and be a sponge.
Yeah. Again, we've said an unlimited number of times about how generous our industry is in sharing, and
it's incredible.
I know you're part of a great group of ladies led by Shannon, and you guys are giving to each other and really giving advice to each other that really sets you up for success in an industry where it's so expensive and we don't have more than one shot at succeeding at this. Failure is not an option.
For sure.
Yeah. Kyla, what about where you found your first franchisees? Where'd they come from?
Where did they come from? They were customers, actually. Our first franchisees knew our brand. They were customers. So we did a little bit of Facebook ad marketing, but essentially they had experienced the brand. They loved us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they were customers of ours. Now moving forward, our franchisees come from everywhere. We've done trade shows. I hear a lot of people say trade shows haven't been successful, but they've really worked well for us. We're the cool kids on the block. There's not too many beauty brands. So people gravitate towards our booth. And because our brand is so bold and in your face, what do you do?
Sure.
So someone, Frank, at a trade show came up and said, do you sell boxes? One time, which I thought was hilarious and cute. But we've had 3 of our franchisees have come from trade shows. A lot of them from Facebook ads, TikTok. Some of us have found our brand on TikTok, mm-hmm. Google search. They kind of come from everywhere now.
The thing about industry marketing of getting franchise owners, of course, customers is always number one. Existing customers, mm-hmm. especially when you're starting out your brand and nobody knows you, they're willing to take a chance on you. But I think the thing you kind of touched on that's so important for folks getting into franchising, it's that you have to have a real diverse marketing program. And they came from social media. They came from trade shows. Well, trade shows, you can't say trade shows are great or trade shows are dead. It's really how you interact in a trade show. There's people that do really well with because they're very interactive. But if you're going to get a trade show booth at a convention or at one of these franchise trade shows and you just sit there back, in your booth or sitting in your seat and not being outgoing and having a plan on how we can engage with the potential customer, and then maybe giving out your card and saying, hey, I'm going to have a private event where we're going to talk more about the opportunity, because you have to be different. Those are the people that succeed in, for example, for trade shows. You can't just say, I'm going to have a booth and it's going to work, or say it doesn't work. It's like, what did you do to make it work?
It blows my mind to walk around and seeing people just like that, sitting on their phone in their booth. I'm like, you spent thousands of dollars on this booth. You should be up talking to people. We have candy. I suggest that to everyone. Lure them in with candy.
Candy works.
and we give swag bags out. We give presents out. So we make people, like I said, how I do it at conventions or conferences. I make people talk to me. We do the same at trade shows, and we make people talk to us. Come here, come to us.
Your sector, health and beauty, it is scorching hot, right? There are so many, there's new brands, but there's a tremendous amount of opportunity because people are willing to pay more for health and beauty, and we want to stay fit, and we want longevity more now than ever, because there's more keys to being able to live longer and be healthier. So I think that's something that, regardless of how busy or how saturated your business is getting, you're in a great space right now, and it should not deter somebody from getting into health, beauty, or fitness.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I say all the time, we are a hair removal business, but we're really in the business of empowering people to celebrate their uniqueness and rock what they've got. That's our
Absolutely.
slogan, but it really is. We are an experience, and we turn people's days around. It's a really cool feeling. We did a brand retreat early on, I don't know, probably 6 years ago, where we made sure that we systemized everything so that we kept our culture as we grow and scale. So that's so important to us that we're not just hair removal. We're making an impact in people's lives and the communities that we're in.
Nice. Kyla,
Yeah.
who's your ideal franchise owner?
Someone a little crazy like me. No, just kidding. We love people that are just great leaders. The business side of things we can coach. A lot of our franchisees have never been business owners before. I think we've got two in the system that have been business owners. But like I just said about systemizing our brand and culture earlier on, we did this with our employees. What are the traits that we're looking for an employee of Foxy Box? And we came up with 3 things to make decision making easy. Everyone that works at Foxy Box has to have a positive attitude, empathy, and be self-responsible. So that if you go, oh, is this the right person or not? You can go back to those 3 things. So it makes decision-making easy. Well, do they have this? They don't have a positive attitude. They're sometimes not very nice to the other staff members. Okay, that's not the right fit then. So we just did this for our franchisees as well. I had an aha moment. Okay, we did this for our employees from the business level, but we haven't done that from a franchise or franchisee level. And the 3 things that we think are the most important for franchisees to have are they need to be coachable. We love being self-responsible. And we ask ourselves, would I buy from them? Are they a good salesperson? Are they going to get out in that market? So those are the 3 things when we're doing our discovery days now. Okay, how do we look for those 3 traits? Yeah. And I mean, who we partner with, our most successful ones, and what's super important to us is that they're involved in their community. Like I said, we're huge on community impact. We do a fundraiser every year called Foxy Fest on International Women's Day, where we do charities in every location that we're in, and we raise money for local charities. So being a big part of the community and not being afraid to get out there is big for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the big challenges I see with new founders when they franchise their concept is, of course, they don't, and I should say we, because I was one who didn't know who my ideal franchise owner was. I didn't even know what the right traits were for somebody to be successful. I thought it was somebody who was like me. In my case, I thought it was somebody who liked sports and kids, and I was totally wrong with that. In fact, it was somebody with more business acumen, somebody who was outgoing in the community, all the things that is what it really takes to be successful in business. And I would imagine same thing in your business, not being hands-on. It's not being a great, what do we say? Vagician, I believe is the proper term. But for your business, like you identify those 3 traits that kind of rolled off your tongue. And I think you could help so many others that are listening to this, that are fellow founders starting out. How did you come up with those 3 values for the employees and for the franchisees?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for the employees, we did a branding retreat. So that was, I spent money. We spent 2 days with a branding specialist and an equine therapist, which is hilarious and awesome. And the equine therapist did therapy with me to go, why did you start this brand? We know Foxy Box is cool and like you started it and whatever, but why? What's the core, reason, the essence of Foxy Box? And that's where we came up with it. Certainly is a way I want to make women feel powerful and energized. My team got together and we threw out all these words. Okay, when we think about what makes an ideal magician, we threw out all these words onto a whiteboard, and then we went, okay, yeah, these are the 3 that are most important to us. So for our franchisees, we now have 16 stores open, 17, 18, 19 franchise partners because we have more under construction. I got to have a whiteboard where I write them down now. But, we look back on our franchisees and we go, okay, what are the traits that we love in all of them? Because you are figuring it out from when you first sell your first few, you're going, okay, what would I do different, or what's working, or what has come up, because it's such a short time really to be in a long-term relationship with these people that you have to go, okay, is this a good fit or not? So once you've been with them for a while, you can go, okay, what are some traits that I love? And then how do I test for those? Again, get your team together, throw some words out on a wall and go, these are the things that are important. And now how do we look for these in discovery or in that interview process to make decision-making easy? Are they a yes or are they a no?
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.